We'll start with Best Buddies. Best Buddies, we're a small not-for-profit organisation, and what we do is we match a person who has an intellectual disability in a one-to-one friendship with someone who doesn't have a disability, and then we say, go out and do stuff together that you like. Buddies see each other twice a month, they contact each other once a week. It's a 12-month volunteer program that both parties have to agree to be involved with. The core principles are about social inclusion, mutual responsibility and meaningful participation, but it's best summed up by saying that we are a friendship program. What we've found in the past 8 years though is both very heartening and also very concerning at times. We think that there is more we actually know. There is real confusion about what social inclusion is. We know that many services and many schools work in a risk-averse framework, and we also know that meaningful risks relate to meaningful gains. What we see, however, we see real, genuine, deep, profound friendships formed, both with high school students and in the adults involved in our program. And they are, I have to say that again, they are real, they are deep, and they are profound, and they are meaningful, and they are awesome. We discover through our leadership teams that we have some very unexpected leaders come through. Some of them have intellectual disabilities, some of them don't. We also know that the program is made and broken by the teachers, and that certainly translates into our service providers in terms of disability as well. When we talk about community participation or social inclusion, however, we think that there's more of a spectrum, and we're trying to point out, I suppose, on this graphic that when you're in a community participation framework, it's very participation based, it's in the title. There's less risk involved. It can be really individual, very one-way and passive, and you can't mess it up. I mean, when you're talking about community participation framework and it's about going to the gallery, being picked up in a bus, taken there and brought back, it's really hard to stuff it up. Social inclusion, I think, is different, and this is where we start talking about risk. It's a little bit more active, it's a little bit more, I can't say risky, and not explain what I mean. It's about belonging, it's a reciprocated response, it's more active, but the critical thing is that you can stuff it up. There is a potential to fail. And if you think about that concept of going to the gallery in a social inclusion framework, you can absolutely stuff it up. So social inclusion is hard, well that's what we're told. And when we were building a program, I suppose, and developing it and making it a very Australian program, we came across research in Victoria that talked about social inclusion being difficult for primarily 4 reasons. They said, firstly, workers have real issues around boundaries. You can't be friends with your clients. That's just not on. It's not professional. So there's a very clear brick wall that stops people engaging. People say if you're going to be working in the area of friendship, you're going to need a psychological assessment, a test of some sort, and it becomes all of a sudden very complex. And then when we introduce concepts like, you know what, your buddy and you might go to the pub, you might have a couple of beers, you might have too many beers. So we go, oh, can you get insurance for being drunk? And it becomes a block. And it's that real risk-averse framework. We don't advocate our buddies to go out and drink, I must say, but you know what? I think almost anyone who works in the disability field knows somebody who goes out on Friday or Saturday night who has a disability who gets into it. The last part, I suppose, is that disability workers say, you know what, we need training, we're not experts at friendship, we're really, really bad at it. And my response is, have you got any mates? Oh, yeah, I've been talking with them about this. And you go, well, yeah, that's the point. Okay, you've got friends. More than likely you are an expert at friendship, you just don't translate that into professional life. And even today in this room there was talk earlier about transcending the notion of your personal and your professional, and the fact that there is a great crossover, and there absolutely is. We see that in our program all the time. So, the checklist. This isn't the definitive list of what you need to do to be socially inclusive. We made it up. But what it does is it gives us a sense, and we ask these questions ourselves when we're organising activities or we're thinking about our buddies at home, and it's fairly straightforward. Are you doing what you've been doing for the past 20 years? And if the answer is yes, well then it's worthwhile having a look at. Going to the gallery is fantastic. Going out and doing street art is a bit different. Is there a potential risk? And we kind of repeat ourselves here, so I'll jump ahead. Who is accepting and who is reciprocated? And that's about the mutual relationship that goes with social inclusion. It's a two-way street. One way is absolutely not social inclusion. But the big one at the end is there potential to fail? And failure is about personal risk or relationship risk. You know, you can say things that offend your friends, and they can get pissed off with you and say, look, I just can't talk to you at the moment. You can make mistakes, and that's part of what social inclusion is about, accepting those mistakes.